Alright, what's going on everybody? It's Falcon here again for another very interesting video. A video that I have never really made before myself. But in this video, we're going to be talking about Voldo and basically anti-Voldo strategies, because this is a character that you basically almost never see. He's almost never played. There's very few Voldos out there. And like, Voldo I think he gets away with a lot of shit against, I would say 95% of players. 95% of players don't know what they're doing against Voldo. But the thing is that when they think that, they're going to think, wow, Voldo is overpowered. But in reality, if you just know a couple of things and a couple of strategies, like, Voldo will not be an issue. This character is not very good right now, if we're being real. I think he is the worst character in the game right now. You could argue that maybe with Rugi or 2B or something like that. But Voldo is low tier. He is pretty lacking compared to like most other characters in the game. But I mean, obviously he's still good. Like, he is still a playable character. But I just want to talk about some things that basically moves that you should be punishing and what lower rank Voldos will do. But the main thing I want to talk about is the Mantis stance. So I guess we could just get right into it. So, Mantis is a very, very interesting stance. So, there are a couple ways, there's two different kinds of Mantis stance. You have the one that is feet towards, and then you have the one with Voldo's head towards you. The Mantis stance, the forward version, this one right here with feet towards, is honestly not that threatening, because this move right here, it does not hit low. Shit. This is mid, but when, let's say, his head is towards you, this is a low, and it knocks you down. In front turn, here's the thing, you're not going to see many Voldos use the forward stance too often. I mean, sometimes you will see me do things like this and, you know, get great combos afterwards. Sometimes I do this for, like, hesitation, and I can, you know, get the opponent to hesitate a little bit just to see what I'm going to do. Again, he has many ways of doing this. He has these stances, and it's pretty gimmicky in general, but it is good. But I'm gonna really talk about this version, head towards. And there's many ways he gets into this just by manually, but the most times you'll see me get into this stance is when I like do a combo. Like stuff like this, and then I do a mix up here. That is very good, and on Oki, that is basically a 50-50. But this 50-50 used to be even stronger, because this low here, 6-6, if the opponent was stand blocking, this would lethal hit for a full combo. But unfortunately, they removed that. So now the only way you're going to get this lethal hit is if the opponent whiffs a vertical, I think. So let me see if I can show that. Like that. And you see, that's what you're going to do. But when people know this matchup, they're not going to just be whiffing verticals out of nowhere here, because they're going to get whiff punished. And I think it lethal hits even if you counter hit a vertical. So the lethal hit on this low is much more rare to get compared to previously. So that's a big deal. And that's the main reason why Voldo got hurt so bad in the patch. But that's the only low he has from here. And he also has all the other options, like this. He has the B option. He has the K. Into that. It can be pretty annoying. He has this, the finisher. You have B plus K, which is an auto GI. A plus B is just jumping thing. This is what you're going to see advanced Voldos do, not lower rank Voldos. And then you have the horizontals. Standing A and 4A, just like that. But the best way to beat all these options is to do a step guard. That is the best way to avoid these options, except on Oki. Outside of Oki situations, you basically have to take a mix-up. But if, let's say, a Voldo does something like this move, which a lot of Voldos do, they love that move, you could basically step guard everything. Like that whiffs. That was, like, you can see that like, the B is gonna miss. The kick, all those kicks are gonna miss. Sometimes the kick can clip you. It can happen on occasion, but it's rare. And the B plus K will also get stepped if you try to, like, if you try to retaliate with, like, a down A or something like that. But then you might be asking yourself, well, Falcon, what about these break attacks, like these horizontals? And they are hori mids, that's why I said step guard, not step duck. But the thing is, though, is that those horizontals, they're too slow. They're not gonna catch you. You guard it. And you can basically keep step guarding, keep doing it, because none of the moves will hit you. And again, that is what you should do against 95% of Voldo players. But then you're gonna have advanced Voldo players that, let's say, if they know you're doing that, they could do something like that. And you see, like, it'll realign with you. It'll realign with you. Or the good Voldo player will wait a second, then do the 50-50, if they see you doing that. And if they do that, you could just 2A them. You could just down A it. Or you could do like a B or something like that. Because I think the A plus B you might jump over. But you see? Like that. This is a good strategy though. Like that. You see? You can't. Actually, wait, you can down A here. I didn't even know you could. But yeah, as you can see, you can't down A here. So I would just do like a BB or something like that. If they start doing stuff like that. But again, you're not going to really see that against most Voldos. Most Voldos will just do the other moves that I showed earlier. So, that is what I highly recommend against Mantis Stance. It's very, very important that you know how to deal with it. And again, if the Voldo is, let's say, doing stuff like this, or, you know, doing like dancing stuff at this range, just block. Or you could step. Again, just step block. See? I mean, you could just stand still, because again, there's no low here. There's no low. And if, let's say, the Voldo is behind you, doing stuff like this, don't do verticals, don't swing, because you will get lethal hit. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with just blocking low here, because there's no mid at this range that's going to hit you. And then you can punish it accordingly. It's very, very important. So, that's kind of like the basic counter to Mantis Stance, is to step guard. Very important. If the Voldo starts to do that jumping attack or delaying the mix-ups, then you can swat it. You can swat Voldo out of it. If you have crouch throws, you'll actually hit Voldo in the stance with crouch throws. So like Astaroth, Cassandra, Xianghua, Nightmare, he can crouch throw Voldo out of a lot of things, and that's a big problem for Voldo. So if you play those characters, you can crouch throw them. Maybe I could actually show that. I'll just play Astaroth. Okay, so see, like that. You can crouch throw him out of the stance with some characters with crouch throws. So that's a very, very, so if you have crouch throws and you know when you'll be able to place them, that's really huge against Voldo. Because Voldo of course can still break the throws, but most Voldos won't expect you to do that, so it's kind of rare when a Voldo will break it. So it's, again, very, very important. So basically in this section, I want to talk about basically moves that you should be punishing when you're fighting against Voldo. And this is going to be moves that you're going to see most Voldos do, and just extra moves that you might see on occasion, but as long as you see them, you'll be ready to punish. So I do have my notes written down right here, so let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. Alright, perfect. So, let's talk about the moves specifically that a decent amount of Voldos will use. So, first things first is the 6A plus B series. 6A plus B is overall a pretty good move because it's a good whip punish, it has good range, mid, but there's also an extension, 6A which is a knockdown. That is not guaranteed. The opponent can tech roll that. So make sure to tech roll after this so Voldo doesn't get any more falls. Because as you can see, that's a lot of damage. That hurts quite a bit. But you mainly want to use this move as a whiff punish. Or if you want to get in. But it's a little risky because... But here's the thing. Again, most players don't know how to punish this. Most Voldos will do this. They will do 6A plus B into the K. And when they do that, this is a high. Make sure to duck this. And make it hurt for the Voldo. Don't let them get away with it. Because on block, this is 0. So Voldo's in a pretty good situation here. So make sure to duck this. It is crucial. And if let's say the opponent is just doing 6A plus B, the 6A plus B, let me double check this. This is minus 14. So if they do this, minus 14. So you can punish it. I think Ashraf all he gets is a kick. Because his 4A doesn't reach. But again, you gotta punish this. And if so, but again, this is what more advanced Voldos will do. Again, most like lower rank Voldos will always do the kick. And when they do that, duck it and punish accordingly. It's very important to do that. The next move I want to talk about is 2A plus B. A low that Voldos, a lot of lower rank Voldos use. It's a decent low. It has, has a lot of range, as you can see. You can use it as a whiff punish if you want to, but I think he just has better whiff punish options. This low, it's okay, but it's visually seeable. So if you see the low, you can see the low coming. You can even jump over it before it comes out. And on block, this low is minus 16, so it is punishable. Again, make sure to punish this. See, you could jump it. You could jump over it if you want to. So, not the best slow. And again, we talk about Mantis Stance. That's something that Voldos use all the time, because a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. What else do we got here? We also have, ABA. This is a pretty decent string. It is a counter combo. High, mid, mid. You have AB, ABA. Pretty decent. On guard, both AB and ABA are minus 14. So that means that on guard, you can punish it. So again, make sure to punish this. Because if not, it's a pretty good string. Important. The next move I want to talk about is the While Rising A. Pretty good Hori mid from While Standing. It will lethal it if you hit the opponent in the back, which is pretty nice, pretty good. On block, this is minus 14. So again, it is fast, so it can be hard to punish at times. But remember, punish that. You don't want to let Voldo get away with moves. Let's see here. Another important string that I want to talk about is back turn 6A series. 6AA and 6AB. Another string that most Voldos like doing. More specifically 6AA. 6AA, I don't use it that often. I rarely use it. It's a decent string, but it is high. So this is duckable. You could duck this. And this option, AB, into this option, it's a mid, which is nice. This is minus 12 on block, and the final hit is minus 16. Important. So, you're gonna get punished. You also have the BB series, but you have two options here. You have normal BB, actually no, 3 options, my bad. You have BB. His BB kind of sucks. It's slow, and it's just not that good. You have BBB, which is steppable. Make sure to step it. But then you have BBA. A lot of people don't know about this, but it's a high follow-up, and it will attract people who step. But as you can kind of tell, this is a high. So what do you mean, guys? It is duckable. So remember, if the Voldo player is spamming that, duck it and punish. 2BB is another string that Voldos will use. I like to use 2B on its own, but the whole string is actually pretty decent, because if the opponent is mashing, like trying to interrupt you, you see that the second hit lethal hits, and this lethal hits for a count for a combo, which is really good. You get a full combo. So that's why I don't recommend swinging after 2B, because if you mash and the Voldo does the final thing, you are gonna get lethal, you're gonna get juggled. The whole string is minus 14. So please punish this. Punish on block. Really, really important. I mean, all this is important, but it's really important to do. Like that. You can also GI this, and it's a level 3 guard impact, which is pretty huge. So that's actually really good. So if they're spamming that, you can GI it as well. If they're doing 2B on its own into a mix-up, you're very minus here. So Voldo's very minus. I think he's like minus 6 or 8. You could start attacking. But if the opponent's mixing it up, I wouldn't risk trying to swing there. I would respect it. 1BB is another string that people lower rank Voldos use. It's not a natural combo, so I'll show that. Shit. Like that, non-natural combo, and each one of these hits are minus 14, so make sure to punish it if they use it. Let's see here, what else we got? Oh, this is one of my favorite tools to use. Hang on one second, let me get some water real quick. So, another thing that a lot of Voldos like to do is this move. The back turn, I think that's back turn 4B. And it is a GI. It's actually pretty good. I use these setups as well. And then when it hits, Voldo gets a free follow-up. But the problem with this is that it is a bit slow. It does not GI lows. It does not GI kicks, so you can do kicks here and counter hit Voldo. Also, this is a high, and it's steppable. Very linear. There's no tracking whatsoever. So if you see a Voldo player spamming these GI setups, you can duck it, you can step it, you can hit him with kicks. It's not the best shit. But if the opponent likes to do horizontal mids or Bs or whatever, it's pretty good. If you're be careful with it. But this is a relatively risky move to go for, so again, if they're spamming that, you have to punish that. You have to punish it. What else do we have here? 4BB, this is minus 14, so make sure to punish that, and 4BA is duckable high. The only time I ever use 4BB is if I get a super freak. If you guys don't know what this is, it's basically like a parry, and you can see it basically will, okay, except that, but it doesn't beat throws, but you see he will dodge anything. Hori mids, not break attacks and unblockables, but any other move besides that, it's gonna beat it. And when that happens, Voldo gets a lethal hit with this move, so I'll show it. Like that, you see? You get a lethal hit if you land with that super freak, which is actually very, very strong. And that's also very good against reversal edge, the super freak. So that's why I don't like reversal edging Voldo too often, because of super freak. But again, if they're spamming, if they just do the move like all willy-nilly, minus 14. Make sure to punish that. But again, that is something that good Voldos do, not lower rank Voldos, so that's just something to keep in mind. Alright, let's see here. So the next move that I got is while standing B. Shit. This move. This move is actually pretty good. It's safe on block, and it's a launcher, which is overall very nice. But it is very, very slow. You can't punish too many things with this because of its speed. So if you do a move that is, let's say, so spamming lows on Voldo that are like very punishable are actually really good in general, because Voldo he lacks punishment. He lacks while standing and even standing punishment to some degree. His punishment overall is actually pretty shitty. So, you can kind of get away with certain moves a little bit more against Voldo than you would against any other character. Because his punishment overall is just relatively weak. He doesn't get much damage from anything he does, maybe besides the while standing beat. But again, this move while standing beat is 24 frames fast. Which is kind of problematic, you know? So you can't punish... It's very rare to punish a low with this move. It's just too slow. So keep that in mind when you're fighting Voldo. And you can also go into stance afterwards as well. But basically do the same thing that, like, against the other things. And you can even do crouch throws here as a punish. Very, very good. Well, shit. Let's see here. Next up we have 1K. This is one of Voldo's best moves. It's a very, very good low. Very long range. It's unseeable. Pretty good. On block, it is minus 14, so make sure to punish this. But on hit, even though it looks like Voldo gets a huge advantage, Voldo is 0 here. You're completely even here. So if, let's say I want to attack or something, or retaliate afterwards, you know, there's just not a whole lot I can do. I can honestly backdash almost anything. Or step guard. So trust me, the advantage you get from this low isn't as much as it looks. It looks like you get a huge advantage, but Voldo, again, is only 0. So, it's still a very good low, though, but just keep that in mind with that low when you get hit by it. And another move that really needs to be punished is this move. This is back turn 8K, 8KA. It's pretty interesting. It's a guard crush, and it knocks him down. It's pretty good, but remember, the second hit is a high. A lot of people don't know that. And I think you can even RI this. You can RI this. I mean, most people aren't going to do that to this move. But you can duck this. So make sure to duck this move, and again, punish accordingly. Because again, don't let Voldo get away with this move. If you let him get away with it, it's a really dumb move. And you also have a back turn 8BK. This low is very linear. It's very slow. You can hit him out of it. Like that. Very seeable. But the move is kind of weird to punish. Now, Astrop could do shit like this, which is actually pretty funny. But it's very linear. It does not track. So keep that in mind. Hang on. Excuse me, guys. I had to fucking sneeze. My bad. But, yeah. This low is very seeable. And on block, if you block this, I would just step and, again, punish accordingly. But sometimes, yeah, sometimes that does hit you. And sometimes you can even just hit Voldo out of it. Like that. So, keep that in mind if they try to use that. And if, let's say they try to use 1B, I mean, the jump blow on its own, that's minus 14. So, not terrible. Not terrible, but again, it's very slow. Let's see here. You also have, 1A plus B, this move. This is actually a pretty good low. It puts you back turn on hit, and it's good in combos. But the frames on it are not that good. I mean, on block, it's minus 12. So, it's actually pretty good. Only minus 12. But again, make sure to punish this. And you can't GI the second hit. But on hit, again, it looks like I get a huge advantage, but Voldo is minus 2 when this low connects. So, you can actually interrupt him before he tries to do anything. However, a good setup is this into this move. Because, if let's say the opponent tries to down A, he sees he's going to go over it, and you're going to get lethal hit. So even though Voldo is theoretically minus 2, he does have a few things he could do here. So it's not a terrible position, but remember it's minus 2. So again, if you need to interrupt Voldo, make sure to do it. But be careful, because that 668 will lethal hit you if you do the wrong move. And also I want to talk about his his 4K. Which 4K is his safe launch. This is one of his best moves. It's a full combo. It's safe on block and high crushes. But the thing is that as you can see, it doesn't lead to that much damage, and it is very linear. So as you can see, it's very, very steppable. So if they're spamming this, you can step it. It does not track. I mean, okay, now all of a sudden it's so good. And you can break his back, or do whatever you want. But 4K is still a very good move. It's still one of his best moves. 4 plus speed. This is unblockable. Some people fall for this. It actually does track, and it's relatively fast. And you can cancel it, but it is a high. So if you see that coming, duck it, and it's not gonna hit you. And punish. Some people don't know that, so you're welcome. Then we have this low, back stance 2A plus B. This is a decent low. It is seeable by really good players, so be careful about that. It does track both ways, which is very good. On block it's minus 16. However, here I would actually recommend doing an I-12 punish, and here's why. Because you can actually go into Manta stance by holding it. And if let's say you try to punish with something, you see? If you're too slow, or if your move is too slow, you're gonna get GI'd or counter hit. So that's why here I would just do like a 2A or a down kick or something, just so he can't do that option. Or you can just wait it out and then punish. That works too. But, you know, there is actually a mix-up on block. But to always get the punish, I would just do like a quick move like that. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with that move. Let's see here. Oh yes, one of my favorite moves. Full crouch 3A plus B. This move, it's a great whiff punisher, as you can see. It's very fast. And honestly, this move, it is linear, as you can see, but this move almost never gets punished. On block, this move is minus 18. Now sometimes, like in these scenarios, it can be awkward to punish. And at this range, it's minus 14. So this move is very weird to punish. But this move is punishable. A lot of people don't know that, but this is unsafe. Again, do not let Voldos get away with that. And you can also, you can charge it to become a break attack. But also, this dive is high, so there's nothing wrong with just ducking here. And again, punishing accordingly. So, if you see a Voldo player just randomly doing this, there's nothing wrong with ducking here, or just waiting it out and punishing it. It's minus 14 to 18. It's around there, depending on the range it's blocked at. But please punish that move. That move never gets punished. Next up. 6A plus B, I talked about that. Oh yeah, I also want to talk about this string. 6A and 6AA. It's not that good of a string. It's decent though. You can GI the second hit of this string. And on block, it's minus 14. So again, make sure it punishes. It's actually the same thing as this move, which I was also going to get into. Some Voldos like to use it, it's minus 14. But you can also hold it to become a break attack, but then it becomes really slow. But I use that sometimes as well, especially after a guard impact, because it tracks. You can also do that with this string here. And if they're doing that, you can interrupt it easily before it comes out. Easily. It's really slow to come out. And you basically kill Voldo's health bar. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. We also have, there's a few more moves that I want to talk about. This is another string that, again, that Voldos love to use. I talked about it earlier. On block, again, I would just recommend step guarding. I don't know why that hit, but okay. There we go. You can step out. And you can also, if the opponent starts to do gimmicky shit like jump around and shit like that, then you can interrupt that. And you can crouch throw it. So please do that. Back to 668. This is a really good move as well. Hori mid that hits from across the stage, and lethal hits. It's minus 10 on block, so some characters can't punish it. Some characters can punish this. It is relatively safe against most of the cast, but I want to talk about that because it's a good move. And be careful. And now I want to talk about... This is the last move before we get into like his soul charge stuff, which is also not very good. It's back turn 66k. This is a weird move. It's a low-high string. It's a counter hit combo. Not a natural combo though. And it's a launch on counter hit. On block, you see the high will always basically whiff, and this string becomes launch punishable. Really punishable. So if you block this move, punish it really hard. Don't let Voldo get away with that. And on guard, I would honestly just recommend blocking here because the options afterwards, because this move stuns on block. And as you can see, you can't interrupt it with anything. And you're gonna get leaflet. So you see, like, I would honestly just recommend blocking after this specific move. And punishing accordingly. By the way, I forgot to mention, but that B option the opponent tries to do, that's minus 14. So make sure to punish that as well. I forgot to mention that, I'm sorry. And also, this, if you block this, it is very punishable, but again, I recommend doing a 12 frame here just because of the GI that Voldo has from there. So, a few things I forgot to mention with Mantis stance. But yeah, those are all now the moves I just wanted to talk about, you know, just want you guys to really punish. And now we're going to talk about his soul charge attacks. So in this section, we're going to be talking about the last part of Voldo, and that's going to be basically his meter stuff. So let's get into it. First, I just want to quickly talk about his CE. His CE is very unique. It's actually very good. In front facing, it's not that good. It's 18 frame startup, and it's minus 20 on block. So it's actually launch punishable, which is not very good. So if you block that, make sure to punish accordingly. But when Voldo's in back turn, this move becomes way better because it goes from 18 frame startup to a 12 frame startup, which is really, really good. Very strong, right? But it's still minus 20, so make sure to punish it. And also, this move hits 360. You see? You see how it hit back turn? So, this super, as you can see, Voldo spins around, and that hits 360. Like, even if you're behind Voldo, when he does this, he'll still hit you. And it's mid as well. So, like, let's say against certain characters, like, let's say Grow. Let's say Grow wants to, when he's in Soul Charge, he wants to do his teleport, which most Grows will do. They'll go immediately into his teleport and do mix-ups. Voldo can basically do the super and hit Grow before his attacks even come out, which is very, very good against Grow. Voldo is actually very good against Grow because of that reason specifically, and there's a couple other things according to it as well. So his super is very good in back turn, but in front turn it's kind of whatever. But make sure to launch punish it, because it's launch punishable on block. Let me get some water. Okay, sorry about that, guys. We are back, baby. But, so yeah, we talked about his CE. His soul attack is actually pretty good. You're mainly going to see that in combos and what better Voldos will do, so I wouldn't worry about the soul attack that much. But let's talk about the moves specifically most Voldos will do in soul charge. And I guess we'll talk about the moves in general that can be punished. So the most of the time, Voldos are going to do this. They're going to do 3A plus B into this snake stance. And when this hits, you actually get a full juggle. That's guaranteed. And I normally go into Mantis to do mix-ups that way. It is a Hori mid, so it will track you. You can't... However, it's actually a special mid. You can block this move standing and crouching, but I would just duck here because you don't get the guard stun, and you can actually hit Voldo before he even does anything. Maybe besides this move, but let me just check for that. Oh wow, not even that either. And again, you can even crouch throw him out of it if you have crouch throw. So again, So, again, most people don't know you could do that, but you can. It's not as dumb as it seems. And it's overall, like, his soul charge overall is very gimmicky. It's not a good soul charge. I mean, it's not a bad soul charge, but it's a very gimmicky one. It's very situational. But you're going to see most of the time Voldos do that into mix-ups. So what I also would recommend is backstepping. Backstepping away, and then, again, whiff punish. Or I would just duck. Because, again, most Voldos don't mix it up. They will just immediately go for this. So, now, if this is guarded, you're basically going to have to deal with the mix-up. You can just soul charge out of it if you want to, but I think that might get interrupted by B+K. But again, I have to check. Yeah, so if they do the B+K option, you can't soul charge out, as you can see. You can't do it. So, honestly, if you do end up blocking this, then maybe I would try maybe to go for a GI or something like that. But honestly, I would honestly just block here and just have to guess with the mix-up. And you see, that puts you in Mantis stance. And in this situation, I would just, again, do the step guard technique. Or go for the crouch throw. But, of course, they could do that and GI it. So, again, that could be risky. But basically do the similar counters like I did to the other Mantis stuff. So please make sure to do that. And it's overall just very gimmicky. It's good, but it's not that threatening. The another move that people will love to use is this move. And there's no, I mean, it makes sense because it's a very long range core emit and it becomes a guard crush. So this, I would just block. Just block it. But as you can see, it is steppable. As you can see. But it can hit behind Voldo. When that happens, lethal hit, so be careful. But that's a good move in general. Voldo also has, hang on, what was the move again? Oh yeah, this move. This is a 14 frame punish. On block, again, do the same things with Mantis, like I said earlier. And you'll beat that. On hit though, again, gonna have to deal with a mix-up. Oh well, no big deal. Who cares? And the final move I want to talk about in Soul Charge specifically is this move. Again, another move that people will just let people get away with. It's not a natural combo, and on block it's minus 18. If it does counter it though, the whole thing is guaranteed for decent damage. But again, that's on counter hit. Normal hit, minus 18, and you're going to get punished relatively hard against most of the cast. So please keep that in mind, but I think you might be able to GI it, but let me check. I don't think you're able to actually. Oh, you actually can. I didn't even know that, but I mean, that's a shame not a lot of Voldos used, but just to keep it in mind. He also has, this move becomes a break attack, which is actually pretty good, and you see it launches, but that's still kind of whatever, who gives a shit. But again, the moves that you want to watch out for in Soul Charge is, this move specifically. Some Voldos will go for this, but it's very linear, it's kind of whatever. And, I mean, that's the thing that most Voldos will do, and also this move. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on with Voldo's Soul Charge. I mean, he has that move as well, which is pretty decent, but overall, Voldo's Soul Charge is very gimmicky. And if you know how to deal with it, it's not really that good. So, keep that in mind. Again, Mantis Stance, if you don't know how to deal with it, is very annoying, but if you know how to deal with it, you'll be just fine. I already mentioned that. And I talked about the moves that you need to punish. It's very important that you don't let Voldo get away with these things, because Voldo will tear you up if you don't know how to deal with him, and he can be very annoying. There might be a few other things that I've missed, but those are like the things. Those are like the things I mentioned are the things you're gonna see most Voldos use. I could have missed something, maybe. If I did, my bad. I apologize. I did write down notes. Again, the last thing I do want to say is you can use certain moves against Voldo because his punishment in general is shit. More specifically with the lows, because his while-staying punishment is cheeks. It's terrible. He only gets like 2A on most of his things, so spamming relatively punishable lows that are actually very good is actually very good against Voldo. That's a good idea. And again, make sure to step duck, very important. Crouch throws are a great addition to beat Voldo's Manta stance in some situations. Again, make sure to punish. I'll punish accordingly. In Soul Charge, I would just recommend just backstepping and ducking at the appropriate time so you can hit out of the 3A plus B. And I basically talked about the moves that you're going to see Voldo's use. Make sure to punish it. And I mean, that's really about it. So, you know, this was kind of just like the basics on how to, you know, counter most Voldos. Again, and here's the thing. It can be frustrating at times because you're not going to get it right every time, okay? Voldo is not a character that you're going to win every time against. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, I beat the shit. I mean, I 5-0 every single Voldo player in the world. I mean, no, I don't. Even I sometimes lose to Voldo. You know, sometimes it happens. But again, it's against better Voldos. Against 95% of Voldos, I do beat them up pretty good. But against that other 5%, you know, it's a very interesting matchup. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you got a little bit of information from this because, again, a lot of people don't know this matchup. And that's all I got. So thank you all for stopping by. This is Falcon. And peace out, guys.